In this video, I'm going to show you a very profitable KDP low content book niche that's making one seller over $12,000 per month. And that's just from one book, and that is pure profit. So if you are looking to make money online, selling no content and low content books on Amazon, then follow along as we explore this niche further. Now, if you've not been to this channel before, then welcome. My name is Paul Miles, and I do videos on how to make it, keep it, and grow it. And that's your money I'm talking about. And if you do like videos like that, then please do give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I produce more videos like this. So what we're going to do is show you how I investigate these profitable niches. Then I'm going to give you some resources on how to create the interiors of these books. And then we're going to look at the all-important keyword research, which are essential for getting your books ranked and seen on Amazon. Now, what is this niche? Well, it's the prompt journal niche. And I like this niche for three main reasons. The first one is they're very simple to create. Here, as with most of these types of books, they're just basically a lined interior with some of the lines removed, and in the place is a question or prompt. Here we've got, what is your favourite childhood memory? We've got, what stories have you been told about the day you were born? So what these prompts do is encourage customers to fill out the journals. Now these, in this case, could be something like a life story journal, or it could be a journal for creative writing, or it could be even a journal for encouraging or prompting people to do drawings and or sketches. Now, the second reason that I like these books is that they make perfect gifts. Go to Google Trends, we can see that the search term prompt journal is searched for on a pretty consistent basis and has done so over the last 5 years. Now, these make perfect gifts for Christmas holiday period, for birthdays, and for events like Father's Day and Mother's Day. In fact, I'm going to show you a book in a moment, an extremely profitable book that's perfect for birthdays for mom and also Mother's Day. Now, the third reason I like these books is that they are very popular and therefore very profitable. Let's take a look. Here on Amazon, I've put in prompt journal. Now, when I'm investigating a niche, I normally put in a general search term keyword. And what I'm looking for in the list of books that come up are 3 or more books with bestsellers ranks of less than 300,000. Because if that's the case, it means there are sales being made in this niche. So here I've put in the general search term prompt journal, and I'm going to scroll down. Now I do have a plugin installed called DS Amazon Quick View, which shows the bestsellers ranks of these books at the bottom of each book. So it saves you having to just click on each book. And here in the first line, we can see straight away that there are 3 books that meet our criteria. So straight away I'd say, good, this is a niche I want to get into. Now, if we scroll down, we can see that lots of these bestsellers ranks are very low. And I want to look at this book in particular called Soul Therapy. Now, this is a KDP book, and it has a bestsellers rank of 6,548, which if we take that figure and put it into a book sales calculator at tckpublishing.com, we can see that it sells between 530 to 1,050 books per month. Now, the interesting thing about this particular book is the price, $19.95, which is a lot. Now, this is a 380 page book, but that's still a lot of money. So that's a quick lesson out there for everyone who thinks that they need to sell their books as cheaply as possible. You don't. Now, if we go to Tangent Templates and put in those figures, we can see that the estimated royalties per month for this book is $6.56, which means this one book is making between $3,400 to $6,800 per month. Now, experience with my books and their bestsellers ranks and the number that they sell, that amount is normally towards that higher end figure. Now, we do have one problem with this niche, and that is here in the top left hand corner, and that is the number of results, 10,000. That's a lot of search results. And if we scroll down these books, we can see that a lot of these have a large number of reviews. Now, from my books, I get about 1 review for every 30 sales. So you can see that you'd have to make a lot of sales to get the number of reviews to try and compete on this first page. Now, a lot of people would just give up at this point and just dismiss this and say, I've just given you another highly competitive niche. It's going to be even more competitive now. It's a waste of time. But this is where the work comes in, the hard work, and that is finding those sub-niches underneath the main niche where there's less competition, but books are still selling very well. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of this. The first is here. And this is Life Story Journal with prompts. Now, I found a lot of these sub-niches by doing keyword research, and we can see it's got 1,000 search results. Now, when it comes to ranking books, I've found that if there are 1,000 search results or less on Amazon, then there is a good chance of getting these books ranked on Amazon. So this fits into my criteria of less competition. So if we scroll through, we can see again a lot of these have low bestsellers ranks, and this one struck me in particular. Again, it's a KDP book selling at $9.95, which means each book is making around $3.82 in profit. But if we put the bestsellers rank into our book sales calculator, we can see that this book is selling between $1,644 to $3,300 per month, which at that profit means it's making somewhere between $6,000 and $12,500 per month, which I think you'll agree is pretty incredible for one book. So this is certainly something that I would look into. And here we've got another one, and this one's for Dad. So again, these would make perfect presents, Christmas, birthdays, and Father's Day or Mother's Day. Now here's a niche or sub-niche that I found that I'd never heard of before, and that's Shadow Journal with prompts. And this is apparently Shadow Work Journal. And here we've only got 441 results, even less competition. And looking at the bestsellers ranks, these books fit the criteria and are selling pretty well. And I took a look inside of one of these books, and again, the interiors are very basic and easy to create. So let's get on to creating the interiors for these books. Where and how can you create them? Well, they consist of two main components. Normally it's a place to write and draw. So this could be a lined component, or maybe just a blank space, or even just a blank square. And then you've got the prompts. Now you could go to somewhere like Fiverr, and here I found someone that will create you journal prompts, which you have to obviously pay for. It does say that if you want to use them commercially, you do have to contact the creator, so I can only assume that you'd be charged more. But that's one way of getting all your prompts. Another way would be to go to something like Creative Fabrica, which is my go-to place for interiors, images to use in the covers, and also fonts as well. And they're still doing this special offer, which is $1 for the first month, and then it's $19 a month thereafter. But certainly for $1, it's pretty much a bargain, and I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. And here you can see we've got an example of something that you could purchase. However, the only problem with this is that yes, other people could also use this, so you would probably want to replace the prompts, so maybe you just want to create one from scratch anyway in the first place. So if you wanted a lined journal interior that you could edit, I've got one free of charge in my Gumroad shop, which I'll leave a link to below, and that's a 120-page PDF file. Now you could drag that across into something like Affinity Designer, Adobe Illustrator. I'm not sure about Canva, although you could use a white box just to blank out some of the lines if you wish. And then in that software, you could then go ahead, delete some of the lines and replace them with the prompts. So where could you get prompts from? Well, you could start at something like Pinterest, put in writing prompts, and here you will get some ideas for different types of prompts. The next thing I did was I just went to Google and searched writing prompt generator and came up with this one here at the Story Shack. And here you can get prompts. You can get writing prompts, or you can just get general prompts. And here we've got, are you currently where you want to be in life? And then you can click Get Ideas and get another one. Click Get Ideas and get even more. And there are some in different categories. Probably the main one you'd be interested in would be the writing prompts if you wanted to create a creative writing prompt journal. Now, in terms of using these, it does say here that there's no copyright on any of these questions, but they can't guarantee that someone else doesn't already own these prompts. I think the likelihood is pretty slim. But what I would do to make sure is, if you're going to use it, just do a Google search, put that prompt into the search bar, do a search, and see if it does come up with being attributed to anyone in particular. So there you have a good resource to get some ideas for prompts. Another way to get them would just be to brainstorm, get a notebook and write some down. Try and think of a large number of questions that could be asked. Now we come to the keywords, and this is very important because I said earlier, these are vital for getting your books ranked and seen and therefore bought on Amazon. Now if we go over to Prompt Journal, what I normally do is start with a general keyword like this. And when you enter it into the Amazon search bar, you'll see that Amazon, left-hand side here, gives us some suggestions for keywords. Now these are superb because Amazon is basically telling us what people are searching for, so we don't have to guess, and also customers will tend to click on these. I do also have a free plugin installed called AMZ Suggestion Expander, which gives us these other keywords here. Now what I will do is take all these keywords and put them down in a spreadsheet. Then I'll take each one of these keywords, again, put them in the search bar, see what suggestions come up, again, put all those into a spreadsheet. And you end up going down a big rabbit hole of keyword research, and sometimes you can end up with really quite a large list of keywords, which I did in this case with Prompt Journal. And then what you do is take each of those keywords in the spreadsheet, put them into the Amazon search bar and look at the number of search results and write those in. Now you'll see this figure here where it says volume 49,500. That's because I've also got a paid plugin installed called Keywords Everywhere. And this will give us, not for every keyword, but for some keywords, the number of search results on Google per month as well, which can help just give a keyword a bit of extra strength if you're thinking of using it. So what do we do with that big list, that big spreadsheet of keywords when we've got them? Well, you can then sort them for the number of search results and filter out those keywords with less competition. Now, what I consider less competition is those with 1,000 search results or less. And that's in the all category and not the books category. I've done a video here, which I'll leave a link to in the right-hand side, on why I just choose the all category. And I found, just from experience, nothing particularly scientific, but I found from experience that if a search term keyword has 1,000 search results or less, I found it's easier to get that book ranked on the first page on Amazon. So I did that for this particular niche and came up with 179 different keywords, all with Amazon search results and some with Google monthly searches as well. Now you can imagine going through each keyword, putting them into the Amazon search bar does take time. It took me, I think, 3 or 4 hours to do this. But I've saved you that time if you want. And that is, I've uploaded them to my Gumroad shop and I'm just charging $1 for all those keywords. So if you think 3 to 4 hours of your time is worth $1, then go ahead if you're interested in getting into this niche. If not, I completely understand, and you can go ahead and do it the free way, the way I've just showed you. Now, once you've got all these keywords and you've decided on which ones you're going to target, the next challenge is using them correctly, and you need to use them correctly in things like the title, subtitle and 7 keyword boxes. And I've done a video which I'll leave a link to here on exactly how I use keywords to get my books ranked on the first page and in a lot of cases at #1 on Amazon. So I hope you found that useful and inspiring. Thank you very much for your time. It is very much appreciated, and until next time, goodbye.